Okay,
to let you
in
know.
fact, really we should use, there's the two issues, yeah, the right back, okay.
And I told her, I said, people might be wanting to come at that time to discuss it, and if we move it up, so, I don't know.
9:40 is only 10 minutes away.
Yep, okay.
I'd like to welcome everybody to this meeting of the Warren County Board of Supervisors. Today's date is Tuesday, October 15th. And if you would like, I'd like to have you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Are there any agenda deletions or changes?
Items 5 and 6, I was asked this morning by the auditor and the person representing the wine, witches, and brews, if we could move that up to be the first item.
After the consent agenda? Is that what you're thinking?
That is up to you, Chair.
Why don't we, okay, if the other board members are in agreement with me, we'll move item 4 and 5.
Oh, it's 5 and 6, sorry.
5 and 6, I believe it is, isn't it?
Yes, thank you.
We'll move items 5 and 6 up to number 2 and 3. Okay? With that, any other changes or additions or changes? With not hearing any, could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion? Second. Roll call, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter? Aye. Snell?
Aye. Okay, now we're up to what was previously item number 5, is to consider application to use the Warren County Justice Center grounds for wine, witches, and brews on October 25th, 2024, with possible action, which will be followed by number 6. So, Leslie, you want to come up and speak to this?
Thank you for accommodating my schedule. We have 2 applications in, wine, witches, and brews. That's the simpler of the 2, and what we are asking for is permission to use the steps. We have 4-foot lighted letters we'd like to place on the steps that evening, and cold sparks that will be done by ASC Special Events, and they assure us they're perfectly safe for indoors, so they should be just fine on those steps as well. And those will be the backdrops to our flash mob that is happening at about 9:15 that evening. And then for Home for the Holidays, we're asking to use also the exterior. The steps are used for carolers all evening long. And then we have a possibility of a what will be a large tree that we would like to put on the courthouse lawn. We have to be honest that we're figuring out with the fire department the safest way that might be erected and lit up and kept fresh during the holiday season. But the idea is to put that big tree on there, and then family members in the community can hang a family ornament on it. So if you think of the Grinch and everybody singing around that tree, that's kind of what we're after that day. We have some blow-ups as well. Would be possible that we might want to put one of those blow-ups on the lawn if it does not interfere with the irrigation system. So we would be very careful of that as well.
Okay. Great.
Okay. I see that you're asking to have the rental fee be waived as well. Is that for both events?
For both events.
What were the steps? You're going to do what? What are you going to actually, what's the activity that's done on the steps, or what are you going to be doing on the steps?
So for Wine, Witches, and Brews, it actually is, there's a Thriller flash mob that will be on Howard. That's where the dances are. The participants are. We have a group that dancers that are leading that would be on that patio area, that level area. But then on the steps, there are 4-foot lighted letters that kind of, you see them at weddings, spells out the word wicked, and then they're at the end of the dance. The participants don't know this, but we'll have the cold sparks that go up. We have drone footage that we're capturing with the city drone.
Wow.
So, yeah, should be fun.
So, I mean, with the, using the steps or using the lawn for the blow-ups.
And that's for both events?
Yeah,
we'll take and we'll approve each one separately. But I think it's just nice since you're up here, having everything kind of together.
Well, it seems our facility manager is in agreement that this is fine, so.
Yes.
All right. Do you need a motion?
Yes.
Okay. I will make a motion to approve the application to use the Warren County Justice Center grounds for Wine, Witches, and Brews on October 25th, 2024.
I'll second.
Does that include?
Sorry. And waiving the application fee. It's an
Okay.
amendment.
Okay.
Would
We
you
have a
second?
motion. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Thank you.
Okay. Kim, roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we are on to the second application, which is for the holiday event.
I really like this one.
Somebody gonna make a
Yeah,
motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the application to use the Warren County Justice Center grounds for Home for the Holidays on November 23rd, 2024, with a live holiday tree on the Justice Center lawn from November 22nd, 2024 to January 4th, 2025.
Do you have a
You want to
second?
waive the fees?
Yeah.
Okay.
Waive the fee.
You waive the fee on that one as well.
Do we have a second?
Right. Second?
Roll call, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we're on to item, what was previously listed as item number 2, which would be the claims. I just wanted to point out, it's another big one, $1.5 million. But if you look at the detail, over 1.1 of that is for the engineering department and all the good things that they're doing, maintaining roads and taking care of things. So, is there a motion?
Yep. I'll make a motion to approve the claims as presented.
And I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we are at what was previously listed as agenda item number 3. Consider entrance variance application for Meredith and Tyler Meador. Or is it Meader? I'm sorry. Meader. Boy, I was struck out all the way around. On parcel ending in 6-4 with possible action. We've gotten quite a bit of material as it relates to this. So I think that we need to go through this carefully. And Tim, do you want to address this first, or does Mr. Meader? Meader. Okay. Do you want to come up here, state your name, and also if you'd provide your address as well for the record?
Okay. My name's Meredith Metter. Current address is P.O. Box 154 in Indianola. Don't have a physical address at the moment.
Okay.
I have some material I can give you guys if you are willing to look at it. There's 3 there. There's an extra. Do you want the extra one? No, I just have an extra.
Okay.
My wife Tyler and I purchased this property in May of this year on the corner of 120th Ave and Quaker Street. After purchasing our property in May, we've been in communication with the county engineer's office to explore options for a safe entrance. We've faced a mix of supportive and challenging regulations, and we've worked hard to navigate these to ensure plans that will meet county standards. We have an improved entrance off of 120th as shown in pictures included in your packet. However, we have safety concerns about this entrance. With the slope from the road to our property, we feel poses a hazard, especially during inclement weather. The vehicle was to miss the driveway in either direction. This could lead to a considerable fall, despite the 3-to-1 slope. We've gotten bids on the entrance suggesting to use dirt from our property to elevate the approved entrance off of 120th to reduce the cost of hauling in dirt. However, we are concerned that disturbing the natural layout of our property, and this would affect approximately 3 to 4 acres of our 10. Our original intention for this area was to be used for agricultural purposes. And then lastly, kind of the big one too, is cost. The approved entrance with the bids we've received are averaging $12,000 to $15,000 for the entrance alone. We propose that the construction of the entrance be moved just off of 120th onto Quaker. That runs across our property, east and west. This entrance would mitigate the safety concerns posed by the existing slope, providing a safer transition for all vehicles accessing our lot. It also helps to preserve the land as it is today, and we can use it for the agriculture in the near future. So we request the board's approval for the entrance off Quaker Street. We believe this change is essential for our family safety and long-term preservation of our property. Kind of self-explanatory in the packet. If I could run through it with you, you can see the drop from 120th onto our property and the width of the ditch for the need of the dirt to be brought in or used from our property. The riff that is in our current ditch that would need to be removed as then another picture showing where the center, the little arrow pointing to it, the approved portion right now. And then the layout of our property, the hill that is there is the dirt that would need to be all brought from the east to the west. So we would be completely taking out that hill and completely reworking that west portion of our property, and we hope to not have that happen. I had utilities located, a little hard to see, but you can see the yellow line there. Concern was a gas line that ran along the roadway or in the ditch, but it shows that it is under the roadway, so we would not be digging over any utilities off of Quaker to put the culvert in. I did some rough measurements going off of talking with Tim previously. From the center of 120th to the Class B sign is 60 feet to start. And then I measured roughly at 90 feet for center of the driveway. It gives a good flat portion to enter onto our property right off of Quaker. So 30 feet past the Class B sign. With a 24-foot wide entrance be proposed, and we're open to, I guess, any sort of less or more, whatever works, to work with you guys to have the watershed, the culvert in if it needs to flow into the ditch off 120th to make sure that everything runs correctly.
One of the issues that I think is going to come up here in just a moment is probably talking about the level A versus level B road. What's your response to that?
I understand.
Because our county policy,
Yeah.
there's certain policy here that you're asking us to negate, basically, or ignore because of that.
Yep. Obviously why we went or came to this point to ask you guys to give variance, hoping that it's a short distance to hopefully approve. A little leniency, I guess, in the ordinance to allow that. So.
Okay. Any other questions from Mr. Maeder?
Well, I mean, we do have the process of variance, but it's usually going against not only policy, but our engineer's recommendation. And it's usually site distance, and it's usually for your safety and that of others who are traveling the road. So I'm interested to hear what our engineer has to say.
For sure.
So.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. I think you're very well prepared, so thank you.
So Meredith was right when he said we've talked quite a bit on this entrance. The first application, they wanted to come off of Quaker, an existing field entrance about 250 foot east of 120th. That one was quickly denied because it's on a level B road. We did talk quite a bit about the process to actually upgrade roads to level A, because that's always an option.
Right.
There's the petition process, so then we have to get extra right away. The trouble here is on this specific level B road, we only have 40 foot of right away. which basically, if you go out there, it's just a dirt path, no ditches. The culverts are all short on the road because when it was built, it was very narrow. Some level B roads, we have 66-foot of right-of-way. Some level A roads, we have 66 feet of right-of-way, which still isn't quite enough, but we're kind of stuck with what we have. Modern level A roads, you get 80 to 100 feet.
Yep.
Highways are all over 120 feet. So you need that room to get ditches, get water off the road, have a place to store snow and all those things. So that was denied there. Then we kind of talked about some ideas to the east, and he did get an okay from the landowner to the north that maybe he'd be willing to donate right away as long as we did field. Well, when we go to dig ditches, we're probably going to get in, 3 or 4 rows of
Yeah.
crops because we have to make the ditches for water flow or it's just going to damage the road. Then we come into, he put a lath up on the level A 120th. We went out and looked, and it was basically as close as you could get to the intersection of Quaker Street. We do have an offset requirement of 300 feet. I'm willing to go shorter than the offset is required. I moved his lath about 50 feet, 50 to 80 feet to the south, so he was about 150 foot offset, but I didn't want to cross over that gigantic ditch that runs through his property, so that's where the spot was approved. So there is a spot that works there. And we actually go out and look at parcels before they're split to make sure entrances will work. And we had looked at this before the plat was even approved, and there's a spot that works on a level A road, so it was approved. We don't approve them if there is no spot that works, and they have to rework their plats to
Right.
get something that works so we don't end up in this variance process. That way we know something works on their land. So we work with zoning before they even are allowed to divide their property to make sure something works. Like I said, our biggest issue is the right-of-way. If we don't have right-of-way, we don't have room to maintain the road, and that creates all sorts of issues. That's why we don't recommend approving this variance. And if you want to go through the process to actually upgrade the road, generally that's cost to upgrade the rock, the ditching, the grading is on the property or on the petitioner. At least 50% they have to put down in order for the board to take it up at a board meeting. You don't even have to approve it at that point. The last few petitions that came through, the petitioner paid for 100% of the project for the upgrade because it's not an upgrade for the system as a whole, it's an upgrade for what
For
they
them.
want to do. And like I said, I think that's not going to work. You've talked to them because they don't want us to get into their property. So, but there is a spot on a gravel road, level A road, that works in the end. So,
I'm not quite tracking. You're saying there's an appropriate place to put access, correct, into this property?
on a level A road, there is a location that meets all ordinances. If you were to approve the variance, even if it's just 70-foot extending a road, we don't have ditching, we don't have anything there to maintain that. And then you got to think about, in the future, what if the person to the north wants to extend it another 100 feet, then you're just constantly going down this road with no right-of-way to get what you need, no ditches. The water's going to run down the road. So we need our right-of-way in order to maintain the roads. And a lot of the roads we don't have adequate enough right-of-way, but we still have quite a bit more than what we have here, so.
Crystal, do you have any thoughts, questions? I'm a bit concerned about the number of policy issues that are coming up, and there's a reason why those have been put in place. Otherwise, I'm sympathetic to the petitioner's request. However, I think that that's why you do have policies put in place to deal with these types of matters. It looks like there's adequate property. I understand what the petitioner's trying to say with regard to use of the land and the driveway. I'm assuming that to get the proper slope to come into the yard or into the property, if you come off the level A road, you're saying that that takes away from the use of the property for other agricultural purposes. Unfortunately, that's the topography of the property as it relates to the road. And I am reluctant to consider changing the policy to create a variance here. The petitioner's welcome to go through that process, but I don't know that it would be, I think it's going to cost him a lot of money, probably just as much to do that with the upgrade of the level B road to a level A road, plus all the other stuff, as what it would cost to come off of level A. So I cannot support the variance request here as it's presented. I would follow the engineer's recommendation on this property. I'm sorry, but otherwise, why do we have the rules? Why do we have those things, and why do we have the engineer doing what they're supposed to do?
Yeah, an Iowa code.
I'm sorry.
Iowa code lays out pretty clear what you need to do to upgrade a level A road, so.
Mr. Mayor, do you have anything else you want to say?
I was just, I don't know if this would be with Johnny.
Yeah, come up here, please.
If, I guess approving or talking with Tim maybe needs to be the appropriate action as far as that 30 feet or so that I'm asking for past the start of the Class B portion, to bring that up to a Class A. If we need to work on that to get a cost. I know I talked with Tim, working with him on getting a bid, what it would coming off the east, and we didn't get to that point because of being stopped with the landowner to the north and things like that. But if I could get a bid for what it would be for the upbringing of the road to allow our driveway off of that, I would be interested to see that cost.
Do you want us to table this? I mean, I'd be willing to table this request here today that's before us and not.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Right.
I would
You-
just
you-
like to see a comparison and what bringing up that portion and working with him, if it's the same cost or so, I mean, I'm willing to pay that as well. I mean, just to compare.
So in order for it to go to now I'm talking to Jim procedurally, we need to approve the variance petition, or what are we needing?
If he wants to upgrade a section of level B road to level A, we need a petition signed by at least 75% of the adjoining landowners. And they'd be willing to pay for at least 50% of the costs, and we have the forms for you to have in order for the board to take it up in a meeting.
So then, at this point then, we really do need to table this, if I'm understanding. This application that's before us today.
Deny the variance, because the variance is to allow it on a level B road. If he petitions for a level A road, then we don't need a variance,
Got it.
because the level A entrances are allowed.
Okay. Just to kind of, for the use of this, I'll move to deny the variance application as requested here today.
okay,
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. So a roll call, please.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're up to what was previously listed as agenda item number 4, public hearing regarding conveyance of parcels E and D, OTP Somerset to adjacent property owner, Iveson LLC, with possible action.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sorry, allergies are still in effect. Earlier this summer, Steve Iverson of Iveson Capital LLC contacted me regarding a house he had purchased that was built in the 1880s. When an addition was added to that house, including a two-car garage, the 2 stalls are underneath part of the house. It was inadvertently built into the right-of-way, the county's right-of-way. Mr. Iverson asked if there was anything that could be considered, and I said the county could consider quit claiming some of the right-of-way. And so I spoke with the county engineer's office, and Tim said that there's plenty of right-of-way there to go ahead and quit claim a portion of it. I provided a drawing to you that shows parcel E and parcel D. By the way, Mr. Iverson paid for the plat of survey and had that drawn up. That is what he is asking that the county convey to him through quitclaim deed. The other parcel D there is an alleyway. We don't use the alleyway. We vacated that previously. There is easements in there for utilities. Any quitclaim deed that we would give to Ivy Sun Capital in this case, would be pursuant to those easements.
Okay. So do we need to move into a public hearing now?
Yes. Would
Okay.
you please do that?
I'll make a motion to go into public hearing.
Okay. Motion and second. Let's have a roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We are in public hearing on this matter.
I do not believe Mr. Iverson can be here today. He is out of the country. And so I normally speak on regarding these issues anyway.
Okay. Is there anybody else here that wishes to speak? Seeing and hearing none, I would move to close the public hearing.
Second?
Roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we are on to the conveyance issue. Do we have a motion to convey the property as presented to us?
I will make a motion to convey parcels E and D, OTP Somerset, to adjacent property owner Iverson LLC.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. Okay, now we're up to what was listed as agenda item number 7, which is the resolution establishing a county compensation commission, a county compensation board. And this is in response to the ruling that the legislature did this last year, which basically eliminated all county compensation boards and put that issue before the county specifically to decide whether or not that's something they want to do. This particular resolution that is here in the packet before us is actually the sample resolution that's been filled in to have the Warren County particulars identified, and this is from the ISAC group, the resolution that's here before us.
Okay.
Megan, can you help us walk through this, any of the issues that we need to be aware of as if we choose to go forward with this?
Yep, so this establishes the board, the compensation board. Kim is ready to have you draw the lots to establish who will have the 2-year and the 4-year terms. So then we'll need to update your resolution with that. So basically, there are 7 members, 2 of which are established by the Board of Supervisors, and then the rest are from county auditor, county attorney, recorder, treasurer, and the sheriff. And so then we'll draw the lots to see who has 2-year terms and who has 4-year terms, which county official is picking which term. And then they will be the one who will be on the county compensation board, and it'll be similar to the old board, but the Board of Supervisors actually has more say in the ultimate decisions of the compensation setup. And then officials, they need to have their appointments to the board by October 29th. I believe we discussed actually making that official and doing the resolution on the November 7th meeting of who will be on the board.
Okay, procedurally, just want to make sure that we're doing it. So do we have to approve the resolution first before you do the drawing, or do we do the drawing? Pardon?
Drawing first, because then those will be those will replace the A, B, C, D
Okay,
on your resolution.
let's go ahead and do that.
Okay, we've got supervisor, and there's 2 spots for that. And we have the attorney. Sheriff. Treasurer. recorder. And auditor. I knew I was missing one.
Just yourself.
I know. It's one of those days. You get sidetracked. And then auditor. All right. Megan, I'll have you draw if you don't mind.
So we'll do the 4 4-year terms first.
Okay.
Or you can just draw the two-year, and then the rest will be
Okay.
automatically 4.
Okay, we'll
So
do
we
the
can draw two.
three 2 years.
I think you need to do 3, don't you?
Yeah,
That makes
yeah.
Okay. So for 2-year, we have treasurer, recorder, and then I need one more.
I keep thinking 2.
And attorney.
Okay.
Then the 2 of the boards. Let's see.
So then the remainder would fall into the A, B, C, and D
Yep.
identification.
That would be the 2 board members, the sheriff, and auditor. So, yep. A, B, C, and D would be the 2 board of supervisors, sheriff, auditor, and then X, Y, Z would be treasurer, recorder, and attorney.
Okay. We have this resolution before us as it's been prepared. Does everybody understand about the terms of office now? Is there any conversation about moving forward with this? No. Okay. Could I have a motion to put forth the resolution establishing a county compensation board?
Okay, do you want this read out, or?
You can if you want.
I don't want to, but.
Oh, well, you don't have to. I think we have it presented here in front of us.
Okay, good. I will make a motion to approve the resolution establishing a county compensation board with appointments made by October 29th, 2024, with the Board of Supervisors, 2 reps, auditor, 1 rep, the sheriff, 1 rep at 4 years for initial term, and the representatives of the recorder, 1 rep, treasurer, 1 rep, and attorney, 1 rep for 2 years.
Great. Do we have a second?
Yeah, second.
Roll call.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Snell?
Aye. Thank you.
Mhm.
Item number 8 is a discussion regarding the We Lift funding with possible action.
So when we did external entities budgets for fiscal year '25, the Board of Supervisors moved $45,000 from general assistance budget to give to We Lift and other partners for rent and utility assistance. We just need to establish exactly how much should be going to We Lift, if there's other partners that we need to be reaching out to for the funding to go to as
Yeah,
well.
what was the total amount that we established for that?
45,000.
45,000. What is the,
We Lift's original application at the time was for 25,000.
yeah, that's what I had in my mind was what we were proposing to do.
So it just never got established exactly what the split up would be. So if we want to go ahead and give them the 25 they applied for, then I just need that to be established, and then we can write them a check.
My understanding was that we were going to approve distribution of those general assistance funds to different partners, and We Lift was going to be one of those.
I
And
don't remember.
I think back in our budget discussion, I didn't go back through all my notes, but I was thinking that we were like 25,000 is what we had considered of that total general assistance fund being put over there towards We Live specifically. And the other one that was out there was from Norwalk, the NAMA, the Norwalk Area Ministerial Association was one that was also being considered. Now, we haven't had anything formally from them, but I think that was part of the thought process that we had originally.
That's what I remember. I remember another, like, I
Mhm.
remember
He was
We Live
here.
coming in and presenting, and
Yeah.
we all thought it was a good idea, and then
Yeah.
there was an entity up in Norwalk that
Mhm.
we were kind of like,
Yeah,
we're gonna
that's-
make this shift, let's kind of use two partners or figure
Share
out.
it.
So I think we agree to talk about that, but I think what she's saying is we never really officially assigned that
Established.
money to
Okay.
a specific entity. But we did my understanding is we did it with We Live, but we got this secondary
Right,
piece that we're
right.
trying to figure out where
Okay.
that money gets assigned to, so I think that's the purpose of this getting on the agenda.
I think for today's purposes, since the question was raised, I think Darren, you had been the one that raised it in our work session. Let's go ahead and let's formally do something for the We Live group, if everybody's okay with that. And then let's just establish that amount. Since we have not maybe heard more formally from the other NAMA group, let's hold back on that for the moment. We know that we have a general thought process in line to support that, but I think we probably need to have a more formal engagement from NAMA to come and talk to us about that. So I would move that we assign $25,000 to We Lift for general assistance purposes. Do I have a second?
Second?
Got a second. Roll call, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Snell?
Aye. Does that take care of it, Megan?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay,
Thank you.
great. Thank you, board. Okay, now we get to talk about some fun stuff related to furniture for the Board of Supervisors offices, quote, with possible action. One of the things that we had talked about at our last work session was maybe putting a ceiling on in terms of how much money we'd actually consider.
Yeah.
And so from that standpoint, I'm assuming this quote we have is a response to that general ceiling. Okay, take it away, Zach.
Yeah, so the quote that I have is for just under $25,000. It was the most affordable of the four quotes that we received. I also believe that it will be sustainable furniture for a good amount of time because it's a wood with metal frame build. So my thought was is if we bought something that was affordable, that if needed in the future we could match easily because it's an affordable option, and also it'll be a durable piece of furniture. But if something does end up breaking, it's affordable if we need to replace something. So I figured that I hit the best of both worlds on cost and effectiveness, and then all I need is if you guys want, I have a set of quotes for each of you, but it comes in $5,000 under that ceiling.
Any comment,
No?
questions?
Who's the supplier that you're gonna recommend?
On?
All
Right.
Makes is the supplier.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm
Oh,
pretty
I'll
good.
make.
Thank you.
I don't know who they are.
Reputable company. We've done
Yep,
business with
yep.
in the past.
I'm good with that as well. I think the points that you made at the work session in particular regarding thought process on what the durability of the types of furnitures was a real solid argument in favor of not just going with the least of the group and not going with the most expensive either. So it sounds like you've come to a good compromise here in terms of a little bit of both. Durability and yet probably a little bit of, it looks nice as well. So I don't have any problem. Any other questions? Anybody have any questions? Would somebody like to make a motion here that we go forward and accept this quote?
I'll make a motion to approve the All Makes Office Furniture quote. This is furniture for the new administration Board of Supervisors offices. I'll make that motion as it's presented here on the proposal.
Second?
Roll call.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Snell?
Aye. Thank you. Oh, I have just been reminded, we didn't formally approve the consent agenda, I guess.
Yeah.
Did we?
No, that was the very first thing we did.
I think we had a motion on that, didn't we? And then we
Yeah,
approved it all.
I made the
Yeah.
motion to approve it.
Yeah, I think we did a motion and a second
I
on
think
it.
it was, Crystal did the motion and I seconded it.
Yeah.
on
Yep.
the
Yeah.
Yep, we just did it right away, yeah.
Yep, yep, I think we're good on that. Okay, here we go, on to the next item, which is the reports. The budget report, general assistants, sheriffs, and treasurers. So Megan, you want to give us just an update on the budgetary situation?
Yep. Okay, so we're looking at September, which is about 25% through the fiscal year. So looking at those budgets that are above that would be Conservation Board. They had a couple of larger expenses, septic tank expense, trail repair expense. So they're not so high that I'm extremely concerned at this point. I'll just monitor their budget. Sort of the same thing with general assistance. Their rent payments and utility payments are running a little bit higher. So I will monitor their budget. Sorry, I'm out of breath just from walking from the back
It's
of the room.
okay. We understand.
And then district court, legal, and court-related expenses are running high. This is one that our budget really is an estimate. So I will keep monitoring this.
Okay.
And then general services is one that usually does run high at the beginning of the year and throughout the years, just
Like it.
because we pay a lot of our expenses up front in that budget. Because we paid an accrued audit expense, and I'm looking to do an amendment here shortly, I might go ahead and do an amendment so that if we have an audit expense this year, we can pay it without being concerned about it.
Okay.
But we do usually end up accruing them. So right now, nothing too concerning. Our overall budget is at 17%, which is less than where we need to be, so that's good.
That's pretty huge.
Yeah.
17%, and it should be
25?
25. That's good. We're
That is.
operationally doing about 30% less already in the first quarter.
That's great.
There aren't, other than what you listed here, there's nothing in this underspending at this point that would say there's a timing issue that we're going to get hit with, say, next quarter with a sudden big jump.
I mean, for every department, they could have expenses that come up, and we just keep monitoring them every month, and if anybody starts running,
Big expenses surge at different times.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, exactly. But at this moment, there's nothing that
nothing I'm seeing
there
or
was
hearing
no,
about that
no
should be
alarm bell
complete.
out there in the future,
Yeah.
okay,
Yep.
good.
Okay, so then looking at revenues, so Board of Supervisors, we get $12,000 in rent payments. That's $1,000 a month. We've gotten one rent payment so far, so it's just the timing of when those checks come in. I think I just turned one or two in, so we should be catching up on that. Auditor, their election revenue timing, they're not going to be receiving that right now. Same with DCAT, it's just the timing of when we get the state payments. They're ones that I'm never really concerned about when their revenues are low. Wellness, that revenue is really just a transfer, so it's just the timing of when we end up doing the transfer from the general fund to the wellness fund. And then capital projects, that is the conservation grant funds that we haven't received. And those could be this year or it could be next year, so we could end up running low on those revenues for the whole year. But as long as our expenses and our revenues come in the same year, that's fine. And then general services, the phone reimbursement was actually moved to IT. So that could be fixed as part of our amendment and take it out of the general services budget, so that looks a little more accurate to what it should. And then we have received 15% of rent payments. So again, timing of when we get the rent in, that goes into that budget. Overall, we're sitting at 36% of our budgeted revenue, so again, that's significantly higher, which is good for revenues, obviously, than the 25% for the year. And then finally, if we look at our fund balances, our general basic fund compared to this time last year is looking good. It's actually gone up. If we're looking at rural basic, it's down about $1 million. That's how it's been sitting for the last several months that I've been giving you these reports. And then other than that, the funds that we would expect to go down, capital project funds, ARPA funds, those are the ones experiencing the most loss, and that's normal as we spend those funds down. So if we look at our grand total, we're down about 4.3%. If we take out capital projects and ARPA, we're down about 1% from where we were last year.
So it looks like we're in good shape.
Yeah.
We're not overspending, and the coffers are still full, so it's good.
When we did our calculation that I asked you to do last week about general fund balance and a percentage, do you remember when we did that? Is this fund balance we're going to use that's in here, or did the fund balance go up since we did that calculation?
I think the fund balance has gone up, but it would be based on the budgeted fund balance. It would be different.
Okay.
But yes, yep. I believe the fund balance has gone up, but it'll, throughout the fiscal year, kind of go up and down.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Do I have a motion to receive and file the budget report as presented?
I'll make that motion to receive and file the budget report.
Second.
I don't think I've
Roll
ever
call.
done that.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Snow?
Aye. Now we're on to General Assistance Quarterly Report. That was in the folder here. There were a couple things that stood out to me. And especially, first of all, I love the detail. A lot of detail here, a lot of information that I'm not used to seeing. And so I think that this is really good to see it in this level of detail and to see where the assistance is going, the number of folks that are applying for it, those that are actually approved and those that are not approved. The one thing that does stand out to me is the requests for assistance are overwhelmingly, primarily Indianola based. And it isn't until you get well into the report that you do see a little bit of uptick from other parts of the county, but not anything like Indianola. So the question, it starts to raise questions for me. Is it a geographic thing because the office is right here in Indianola at the, that's why we have that problem? Or we're addressing that problem in a different way than I find it hard to believe that the issues here are not elsewhere in the county. So that's the only thing I just raise out of the report.
Yeah, I think it's more of just word of mouth. I don't know, I haven't spoken to the General Assistance Director, but maybe she has more relationships with those here in Indianola than in Carlisle or Norwalk, or even the rural areas, so.
Yeah, that's the only thing that stood out in the report. I thought, wow, this tends to, it tends to support what we, I think, started to observe in the last couple of years. And that is that the office here is only able to do so much. So here we are earlier in this meeting today. What did we do? We supported other organization to help address some of that need, and we've also talked about the NAMA organization up in the Norwalk region as part of that whole effort as well. So it continues to support, I think, the premise that because of the physical location of the General Assistance Office being in Indianola, therefore it concentrates on Indianola and not necessarily countywide. Because I find it hard to believe that Indianola is the only place that is in need of general assistance. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. And I know that she does make home visits, so it's not just, you know, I think really think it's word of mouth and I hate to say marketing, but
Yeah.
that I think a lot of people may not know it's there.
I've,
Probably true, like, across the board, like public health, I mean, if we pull their numbers, it may centralize here in Indianola because that's where the services are rolled out, but we have talked before in the past of, like, finding a office space up in Norwalk or up in Carlisle. I mean, I think it's a very good discussion about how do we move these services out, and if it means having an office, other offices doing these services, and that better serves our community and makes it more widespread. But I think, you know, I for one would be more than willing to, you know, figure out a better distribution of.
I think maybe having, sharing with these other entities that we do give to, maybe having her be there once a month or once a week or something, saying, you know, I'm here during this time.
Your opinion on that? You know,
Yeah,
our leaders'
absolutely.
Opinions on
Yep.
why that is, may be able to shed some light for us.
now, there's one other aspect of this that I think we have to look at as well. I'm not naive to think that we don't have people in need, but I think we are a very fortunate group of folks living here in Warren County. And maybe that's part of the issue here is that we don't have the same level of need that maybe some other places do in the state of Iowa. Because Impact is having the same problem. I mean, the same issue we're talking about right here, Impact will tell you that they are having a difficult time with outreach to the rural counties. And when you start to look at from a population standpoint and you see the numbers here in the central Iowa area by county, and you see that Warren County is having the same level of service as Marion County, which is a third the size of Warren County.
Wow.
Now, Boone County tends to be just slightly ahead of us, but again, they're that same size as Marion County. And yet, the numbers of individuals being assisted through Impact are basically the same for, relatively the same for Warren County, Boone County, Marion County. Doesn't matter.
Wow. I
And
wonder.
so they're having difficulty getting the need addressed if, and I guess this is the other thing we have to raise, if the need is there. Maybe we're fortunate enough that the need just is not as great here in Warren County as what it is in some of these other places. I don't know.
Maybe it's being met by the churches or other
Exactly.
organizations in our county, so.
So that's the only thing that stands out to me on the report. I mean, I'm not trying to be at all critical of what's
No,
going on
I think
here.
it's-
But I do find it interesting that we've had this conversation now for the last, at least the 2 years that I've been on the board, and the numbers keep saying the same thing. Nothing has deviated from what I observed when I first got on as a supervisor here 2 years ago.
And we've lowered the standards and increased the money, and it's still.
Yeah, and so I think from that standpoint, it's just something that I think going forward for the board, okay, if we're trying to meet those in need, okay, are we doing it? Is there an outcry otherwise? I am not seeing or hearing it otherwise. Other than, you know, the various other partner groups such as We Lift or NAMA, which will say, yeah, we're doing our thing up here, or we're doing it over here, and things. And so that's why I think what we voted to do here a moment ago was very worthwhile. I think that is the right thing to do. I think that if you have other groups within the county that can be partners, especially from a geographic perspective, I think that's something that the board should continue to look at and be open to. With all that, I would move approval and acceptance filing of the General Assistance Quarterly Report. Do I have a second?
Second?
Roll call.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Snell?
Aye. Okay, moving on to the sheriff's quarterly report. Anything stand out to anybody there? This is primarily financial. We really don't have any numbers here regarding number of inmates being held or anything like that, do we? Anyway. Do I have a motion to receive and file the sheriff's quarterly report?
I'll make that motion.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Final report, treasurer's report. Excuse me.
I had
don't
the
think
recorder.
That's correct. This should be the, that's not listed right. It's the recorder's report, not
Yeah.
the treasurer's report.
Yeah, you got that right.
Yeah, sorry about that. That should be correction on the agenda. The recorder's report. Any question about that?
No questions.
Okay, do we have a motion to receive and file?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're to the point now where supervisors, anybody have anything they'd like to report at this time?
No, thank you.
I don't have anything.
I've talked a lot today, so I'm not going to talk anymore.
You're the chair. That's what you do.
I'm sorry. You know, we had just good topical conversations here, so need to deal with that. We are at the point in the agenda where we have public input. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per individual. The board will not take any action on the comments due to the requirements of the open meetings law, but may do so in the future. No public input will be allowed for any of today's agenda items. Do we have anybody from the public that would like to speak? Not seeing any or hearing any, I would suggest that we move on to the next item, which is announcement of the next official board meeting, which will be November 7th, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. Just remind the board, we will be having 2 work sessions here the remainder of this month. We'll have each of the next 2 Tuesdays. And as we talked about and approved today with the 29th, we'll want to make sure that we have those appointments in hand on the 29th so that we can approve them officially on that board meeting on the November 7th. Okay? We also, just a reminder, we had the other appointments for the Condemnation Compensation Commission and also the Civil Service Commission that we need to make sure we get those appointments. So in the next 2 meetings, we'll be talking about those. Those will be on the agenda. And so hopefully we'll have those appointments ready for discussion at those work sessions and where we could approve those appointments on November 7th. So no rush here, just want to make sure everybody has that on their agenda so they know that we need to get those appointments made. Are there any questions about those appointments or what's open? No? Okay. I would move to adjourn then. Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody.